Analog to play a really great game because he is the key point to their early to mid game transition. He's the one who needs to be ganking. He's the one who needs to be providing damage. If not, Heroic are going to play a more farm oriented game, which isn't where they thrive. It's not where they excel. So all eyes on Analog for me.
So if this game does go 40-45 minutes, we are favoring Aurora.
A little bit, but that's maybe less about draft as well, but more positional. I think Heroic struggled positionally against beastcoast earlier today. You can see KJ's frustration drawing on the mini map, like we need to be here, not there. So I think if it's a positional game, Aurora does have the advantage as a team so far at the Rotate International. Therefore, yes, leaning Aurora, but you never know with Heroic. Sometimes they can play much better than they have been doing like a series ago.
Yeah, so when we see Lorinov needing to be the one setting the tempo for Aurora, he doesn't really need to do so. He can just wait to see, because Heroic seems to be the one, the class that has to make the moves with their Storm Spirit with Analog.
He will definitely make the moves with Tiny, especially these like squishier heroes on their side. Try to kill these two supports and then go from there.
Okay, well, let's see how this game or this series will start off. We're heading over to the game, but first, some words from Coach Sunby.
Thank you very much, Shiva. Yes, indeed, I'm here with Sunby. And firstly, how did that draft go? Did everything go as expected for you?
Yeah, I think it did. It did.
Great. So when you were watching the games this morning, were there any weaknesses? You don't have to necessarily tell me what those weaknesses are, but do you think you spotted any weaknesses in Heroic's game, which you're now taking advantage of?
I don't think so. We didn't really watch their games as much as we looked at others. I mean, it's not really about them. It's really you versus yourself. So no, not really into exploiting the enemy. I think it's really more into just playing our game better.
Excellent. So always looking at yourselves and looking to improve. Well, lastly, the 23 morph, it's amazing, but sometimes, we kind of know you guys are going to do it. So are you ever worried about Heroic predicting that and having answers ready for it?
Yeah. But they showed Mars, and it's going to go off lane. If they put it mid, then we're not really worried about it. So I think we have a good condition to just pick it.
Excellent, Sunby. Thank you very, very much. And over to our casters for this game with Sunspan and Cinderin.
The battle begins.
Thank you, Nomad. As we already have an arrow connecting onto K1, and Mr. Hector will be able to walk away. Sunspan here with Cinderin. This is Aurora. Your name. Yeah, my name is Sunspan. In fact, Aurora versus Heroic. This is the end of the line for either South America, shut up Jenkins, or Southeast Asia. Who do you think has this game number one based on draft?
I don't know if it's that clear cut that either team has an advantage. I think something the panel talked about that is a little bit of a concern for me as well as Heroic's support duo being Omni SD. I wonder if it's too much of a good thing here with the amount of saves they have versus play. However, in the past, we used to have a meta. This was around, I forgot which major this was, but there was a major where OG were playing double support, basically defensive support every single game. They had 2 saves, and it was amazing in that time. Obviously, conditions have changed a lot since then, but it's not OQ actually.
What the hell is going on in that lane?
If you are a ranged hero, you don't have to melee the Dragon Knight and Omni, but if you want to,
it's like all 4 units were on top of each other. It's like, what am I watching? Okay.
But yeah, what I will say Heroic did was they covered the weakness of that support duo quite well by getting a super active mid hero in the Storm Spirit. Obviously, he needs time to farm up, but once he has the items that he needs, this hero can be as active as anyone in the game with reach and with setting up kills. On the side of Aurora, they have a ton of comfort. They have their ET on Ollie, which is probably his best hero. Lorenov's Tiny has been looking really good, 23 on the Morphling. And Japs has been having a pretty good tournament, I would say, when he's been playing his Kunkka. It's either that or the Timbersaw that have been his standouts. So very comfortable. The lineup has a lot of skirmishing power, a lot of team fight, and it scales very well. And I think, this team likes going late. So already having the ET and Morph for that, I think takes a little bit of pressure off their shoulders if this becomes a slow game.
But Jab's having to take a very long route to live here, missing a lot of CS as a result. As KJ is going to get a nice purification onto both heroes. That's what I call value. And KJ will be able to get away with his life. And Dragon Tail onto Jabs. Can they get the blocks? Not quite. But they might still have the damage. Breathe Fire, not quite enough. But still, Jabs very low on HP, can't really participate in this lane as random courier snipe here from Q. I think that is the kryptonite of every pro player. They just forget they have a courier half the time.
Yeah. The most experienced players that played back in time when your team only had one courier, they still haven't got used to the fact that mid isn't using it for the first 7 minutes as the only player.
Imagine having the one courier back in Dota with a hero like Monkey King.
Yeah.
It would have just won the game. Echo Stomp from Ollie's playing this Elder Titan. Always a TI hero, right? It doesn't really matter how it does throughout the year. It feels like it's always played at TI.
It is, but at the same time, it's also been played very little so far, right? I want to say the majority of the ET picks are Aurora. But maybe I'm underestimating just how many games we've seen it in, but definitely it's very good for them. And you have a good point. Like in terms of TI, when the games become really important, teams really seem to, on average, favor comfort and team fight in the games, and for this team it's both, so makes a lot of sense.
Arrow will hit. Knights X into the torrent, but KJ still will survive. But looking at Heroic's lineup, I mean, this is a very old school combination with the Omni Knight and Storm Spirit with that repel. I mean, that's probably one of the best repel recipients in Dota. It's funny that the trajectory of Omni Knight is going to hold that thought. Schofield looks like he's dead. Ends up tying the game 1-1. 23 Savage gets credit for that. And this is the one benefit of playing the Kunkka is you can always X-bark. That's the news cosmetic. He's going to have a little puppy dog with him.
The Lycan combo.
I can X back to base and get all the mana you want.
I think the whole Omni Storm combo is interesting in this game because we'll see if Analog changes his item build based on relying on Repel, or if it's just going to be a luxury. If you still have to buy BKB because of the amount of spells that the enemy team has that can catch you and kill you off, or if we're going to see him take more of a hyper-aggressive approach with maybe an earlier Parasma, where he's really emphasizing the damage output, knowing that he has Omni and Shadow Demon as double protection. I think it's a little bit of a concern if multiple heroic heroes in this game go BKB early, because then I think they just run into this, I want to say, almost 10-minute stretch where I just don't think they have enough damage. So I don't even know if they have the choice in reality of not bypassing BKB.
Yeah, we'll find out not too far in the future. I mean, I don't know about you, but I am expecting long games here, Cinderin.
Yeah.
We might see a tier 5.
It could absolutely be. We could be here all night.
I'm up for that. As long as the game is, it delivers on the tier 5s. That's what I care about, of course. That's in my contract. Got to get at least 2 of those per TI to be satisfied.
We've had 1 so far.
Yep, we're halfway there.
It was, I believe that game was 61 minutes, and one team got 4 of them, the other got 1. So it was...
Yep, and then the game ended.
Yeah.
As is intended by the great Ice Frog. Well, we've been seeing a lot of stacking at this tournament, and this game is no stranger to it. You have the Shadow Poison stacks from Schofield on the other side. Lots of stacks in the Radiant triangle as well.
Radiant
and the question is, will these teams battle for them? Because that is when things get really spicy. Do they have the lineups that can do that at that stage, you think?
I mean, in theory, a Storm with some backup could be good for it, but if it's early enough, then I don't know if he really has the mana pool. I suppose Storm plus a Dragon Knight coming out of the safe lane and just running straight down there with an Omni covering him could be a thing. I mean, we'll see. It was an interesting stat brought up in the panel, right? The discrepancy between stacks in these two teams. That Heroic, one of the teams stacking the least, and Aurora, the team stacking the absolute most. Heroic usually don't stack that much because they're playing very active with their, in particular, mid hero, but with the Storm Spirit being a little bit on the greedier side as far as their mid picks go, perhaps this time around they're just going to accept the stack trading instead of trying to invade and steal anything away and just settle for this and be like, that's fine, we just need to hit our mid-game timing with the Storm Spirit and enabling him. there is a real possibility that this game has like 5 kills minute 20, I think.
Stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen.
I know it's not what... Okay, well, we'll see if we get one more
This
now.
is the greatest curse of all time if this comes to
Jabs.
fruition. Jabs gonna get ganked and brought down.
All right.
One more kill for Heroic.
Just two to go for the 5. We'll see. But the reason I say that is when you look across both lineups, right, and the play styles of these two teams, neither team probably feels pressured that they have to do something, and the options they have for playmaking are relatively limited. So Aurora, in order to execute kills, they need to be very decisive and clean in their engagements because of the amount of save and healing that's on the enemy team. And on the flip side, well, Heroic, because of the nature of having 2 defensive supports, setting up kills is not particularly easy to begin with. So it is a little bit unusual, I would say, for this patch that the teams have this this type of matchup between the styles. But we'll see. I expect this game to really pick up around the 20-minute mark. I think that's when things are truly going to go down, but, you know, I'd be happy to see some more action before then. Of course, it's entertaining. These teams are playing to win. They're not playing to entertain the audience.
That's right. They don't give
a lot of the
shit
time it's
about
entertaining when you win, as a matter of fact. So
sometimes, yeah.
You know.
Depending on who you're rooting for, of course.
Yeah. More stacks.
Indeed. This is Stack Gamers right here. Jabs with the Tidebringer. Actually, see, there is a sentry there, so only a couple stacks, unfortunately, for Aurora. Plenty of Ancients, though. 23 Savage, definitely off to a good start on this Morphling. Has his Morbid Mask, will be going for the Manta style into the BKB.
That's a very defensive build if that's what he
It's a pretty early BKB, right?
Yeah, I don't know if that's necessary here for 23. Because, yeah, sure, there's multiple stuns in the enemy team, but is there the burst? Like, maybe he needs it against a Storm Orchid, but that he's only going to have the Manta for that. Analog will start off with the Witchblade, which is pretty standard right now for Storm. I don't know, we'll see. He might yet change his approach. I personally think Manta is enough defensively for a while on the Morph, and then BKB is like maybe a 3rd or 4th item this game. But this guy is a Morph specialist.
Yes, he is. Analog, he's going to get Avatos back into the Elder Titan. We'll have to zip away, though. Shield Rune was secured by Lornoff. I wanted to talk about Tiny just briefly. I know we're not seeing position 1 Tiny pretty much at all. Is that the only position that goes for the other facet? Or does even that position, would you say, goes for the crash landing? Because that facet was nerfed pretty significantly.
I mean, it's hard to answer your question when no one's playing it, right?
Yeah, but you love theory crafting, so...
In theory, if Tiny Carry was better, he might go for that facet.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Good answer.
But he could also still get the one he got now.
Okay, great. Appreciate it.
Because that one is also good.
Okay, thank you, Cinderin. That's why you get paid the big bucks, of course.
Yep.
Yeah, we got the stack cams going now. Get used to this.
I think Heroic have stacked more camps in this game than in their last series already.
Yeah, they're going ham. And Hector going to take full advantage of that splash attack from the dragon. And Analog will get the big camps for himself.
This is a whole family farming.
It is a team
4
effort.
people farming triangle.
Meanwhile, Jabs is just he's a Chad. He can do it by himself. Look at this guy.
Yeah.
2 Seeds of Serenity, of course, to ensure that.
Oh yeah, I can walk from one heal into the next. That's nice.
Yeah, that's very good.
Lovely.
This will take a while, but we will watch it because there's not going to be any kills.
This takes me back. This was a very random memory that this just ignited in my mind. This takes me back to No Tidehunter with Eternal Envy.
Oh, wow.
They had, when that team was formed, they were stacking like none other. And I think Envy was playing 5 for a while in that team, if I remember correctly.
Yep, he was the 5.
And they were just stacking and farming Ancients all day.
Echo stomp onto 2. Boat is coming on top of the toss, but a nice disruption to dodge basically everything. Lornoff's, his rune was actually dispelled completely. Gets the avalanche onto 4. His team cannot assist because of the arena. Lornoff still relatively low, but it's very tanky. Finally, the magic damage comes in from Q, but the Tiny is already lost for Aurora. Gonna lose the Omni Knight. Ollie will follow suit, so it's a 2-for-1 exchange in favor of Heroic, the position to Tiny.
That
The one
fight,
core to fall.
that fight was such a good illustration of the lineups. That took forever for someone to die, considering it's a minute 12 fight, right? Like, usually in other games that we've seen today, that fight would have ended in half the time,
Yeah.
and one team would have got 2 kills, and that was it. But like the Omni Knight being saved by Shadow Demon into then saving himself into then getting back up. These fights will be very long until you get some sort of itemization coming out that can just flat out burst heroes instantly.
Yeah, and the only reason Lorinov got picked up is because the Dispel on his shield rune. He was feeling very confident with that extra HP.
Yeah, Demonic Purge is an amazing ability, for sure. So yeah, I think looking at Aurora's lineup, they will have one X factor going later in this game, which is that Tiny plus Morph, I think, can just flat out kill Omni or SD before they can react. I think it's a very good way of solving double defensive support problems, to have really hefty single target damage. And when 2 of your cores can offer that, the Tiny will eventually get a Conda, the Morph will probably also get a Conda, and then the Conda brothers can just choose a target and kill it instantly. That's something that Heroic need to be proactive about. And actually, Analog now with the Orchid will go on the hunt. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Relying on the repel as
Yeah.
his butler is coming close behind. KJ got that repel button ready to go. This will be the Orchid reveal. Pretty important for this Storm Spirit. But yeah, typically, I mean, what is usually the first item for Storm? I mean, we haven't seen Orchid. I haven't, at least, in a while.
Sometimes Orchid, sometimes Witchblade.
Okay, good.
I feel like in this tournament, I think Witchblade has been more popular on average, but this is not the first Orchid game we see as the #1 pickup.
I'm just glad we're not seeing Meteor Hammer anymore.
Yeah, that's
was
not
very
really a
dumb.
thing.
Thank goodness.
Oh, there it
there's
is.
the Orchid reveal, the arena on top, and that is a dead Morphling.
That's value.
It took a while to set up, but Heroic get a very valuable kill.
Yeah. Can they convert this into more, though? Already a 3,000 gold lead. Just
that's pretty
so much in the way of creeps. In particular, Dragon Knight is very farmed.
More
stacks.
Did Hector mess up that stack?
This is his second stack that he messed up. He also did one top where Omni was trying to stack for him, and Hector was like, I must have gold.
Yeah, that is
I do not have time for these.
very
rivals.
tilting for Schofield, I'm sure. And he's in melee form, but of course, with that facet can just get all this splash, or I guess it's cleave technically in the melee.
I think that the next thing they can do to help Dragon Knight is they should have picked Centaur and rushed Ag so they can also drive him around in a cart to his farm. I don't think it's possible to babysit a hero more than this.
Yeah, he's being spoon-fed quite a bit.
He's farmed probably 12 stacks at minute 15.
Yep, K1. Dragon form to farm the enemy jungle now. Nothing stacked for him, though, unfortunately.
Aurora will put some pressure up here in the top side.
But he has a 2K. We're going to see Lorinov with the Avatos. Schofield will be able to disrupt himself, but he's going to be surrounded by enemies. But here comes the Zip and the Orchid. As Lorinov actually is going to be quite healthy. The Orchid was on jabs to prevent the boat.
5-second
full
cooldown on
disengage for
Arena.
Heroic. There is a haste rune available. Another Avatos. Divine Llama gets off the spear in the meantime, though. Here comes the boat and the ET ult as well. Divine Llama gets one. And it looks like jabs will follow suit. Eventually will tick away. That's 2 cores dead for Aurora. So Heroic, with kind of a back and forth fight, end up on top again.
Schofield had 5 Shadow Poison stacks on jabs, and instead of popping them, he waited to give the Dragon Knight a chance to get the kill. And he did.
Wow.
Is literally like, yes, master. K1, would you like a chance at this kill? I could kill him at any point, but I'm saving him for you. I cannot possibly. Oh man, it's funny to see, and it's working.
Yeah, look at his net worth. It's absurd.
I think Aurora need to be very careful with fight selection. It's clear that you can see the mindset they have is, okay, we have to separate them. So they're trying to blink, toss someone back. But if the burst isn't there to kill him off instantly, he's just going to walk toward his team, get either disrupted or repelled, and then the fight is lost. This execution is not good enough. It has to be Avatos into arrow plus ET stomp in the back, or some sort of, you know, earth splitter that just destroys him. Maybe a boat on top. Maybe Morph can adaptive, but yeah, not quite there yet.
Yep, analog with the aggression, and he's going to find a freebie in Ollie. Able to get out with very little mana, and we can see very important off-screen camera here. Thank you, production, as always. But the fact that Heroic have 2 butlers, it's not even for the same person either. Storm has his own butler, and the Dragon Knight has his own butler. Because we can see that K1 is going for a BKB, so he's not relying on this repel. It is the Storm.
It's KJ just move clicking on the literally just following him around like a squire.
Master, where would you like to go to next?
He has to buy Solar Crest so he can give him move speed, right?
Yeah, of course. Anything for my master. He's got the armlet SNY BKB, I believe, is on the way. He is gigantic.
This is not normally. Oh wait, you don't get it, right? No, it's a meme.
No, the Normalin?
No, this is not normally. It's a CS meme.
Oh, it's a... Wow, how do I not know that?
Check him PC.
Okay. I'll have to check that out after this.
Oh man, you have so much to learn in life still.
Yeah,
even in your old age, you don't know the most famous memes. What have you been doing with your life?
Yeah, nothing productive though, that's for sure. So, from the Heroic side, Cinderin, with this 7K gigantic lead, what is next? Huge. I mean, they have the BKB. When do they want to just start forcing fights? And I was going to bring up Roche.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty safe time to go Roche, I would say. So I don't mind it. I would say bring all 5. Keep good placement.
I don't know why I found that purification funny.
Oh, you have 90% HP. Here's a purification, Master.
ET can cause some trouble, but you can tell Aurora are not interested in this fight. They're
not at all.
Giving it up entirely. And yeah, the main thing, the name of the game for Heroic is formation. You need to make sure the supports... The perfect placement of heroes is that both supports are in range of saving each other, but not getting jumped together. You know what I mean? Like, as long as they're placed in such a way, accessing the fight for Aurora is... I want to say nigh impossible right now until they get more damage. Like, they absolutely have to get these Kandas up and running. But Loranov is going BKB first, so that's quite far away. And Morph is also going BKB. I can't say I love it, honestly. I think it's too defensive. You're gonna struggle to bring down these enemy cores. And in reality, with this itemization, if Heroic just make the play call, hey, let's go take this tower, let's go take this tower, I don't think they can really stop them.
Oh my god. Oh! Oh no! All right, he gets rewarded with a shard, I guess. He's not going to use the shard, of course.
They didn't both die.
His net worth increased by 1,400, so he's worth more to the enemy. Pretty much no gain out of this situation for Aurora. Oh dear.
Yeah, the alternative shard was...
Marana, right?
She already bought it.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
Okay, so... I would think it would be Jabs, but he might be more farmed as well. They find the Morphling, and he's dead. Super easy, calculated from Heroic.
Yep.
And they take the Wisdom Rune, so adding insult to injury. And this game has just blown open.
85 total damage to Morphling. What?
Say it again?
If you check the chat, non-hero did 85 damage to Morphling.
Non-hero?
This is the next generation of taunt.
What is that?
You got killed by non-hero.
The Tormentor was already dead.
I think it was just the neutral.
Just the neutrals, I guess?
Yeah, I guess so. I didn't know you could click the neutral damage and it says non-hero.
Well, Q at the very least will be able to snag the opposing Wisdom, so it is a trade in the end.
Dude,
but
is this a Dragon Knight or an Elk? What is
this? It's absurd.
He has 750 GPM on Dragon Knight. Oh, this is a stack for Hector. This one he made himself, though, so it's okay.
What a good boy. Yeah. Learning from the butler. And so he has a Chrysalis. Obviously, the Daedalus not too far off now. T-Ping is like, where are my stacks? Butler! These are single camps, for God's sake. What are you doing?
It's raw. Camp is raw.
2 minutes on the Aegis. What does Heroic want to get out of this? Because this lead is gigantic, as we've talked about. They're going to go for the tier 2 bottom. There's still another one in the mid lane, so I suppose that is what they have their sights set on. Oh, Avalanche, but the repel preventing the toss, and now the counter Orchid.
Yeah, it's just too
absolutely
easy.
Punished.
Too easy. I mean, now that when I see this game play out, I have to say, Heroic's ability to kill is a lot. It's a lot easier for them than I expected, and for Aurora, it's about as hard for them to kill as I expected. The same time and kill both, but don't know, man. Like they have these defensive items, they don't have damage, so
it almost feels like if you're gonna go for that toss play, it's got to be toss first, because if you're avalanching, that's enough time for them to get repelled. But then if you do it on Storm, you're just gonna zip away anyway, because it's a hard game.
Yeah, and he also has Aegis, so he's not even the target to begin with.
Very true. Not for long though.
I'm going him.
They did get all the tier 2s. I doubt they're gonna want to push the envelope. It is a South American team, so who am I to say if they're gonna risk it?
The prize is mine.
But they have firm control of this game number 1.
There's the smoke. Just as the doctor ordered, the moment dragon form ends, let's gank. I have finished.
Hey,
farming.
it is unexpected. Uh-oh. 23 Savage. Okay, he'll have time to morph a bit.
Spot and get out. Well, that was not the best wave form, but
he got a kobold though. Good CS.
And Marana will get found by Analog. Not much mana.
Yeah, he doesn't have a whole lot. Will do some damage as Q.
Oh, Aegis expired.
Yeah, that helps. Delicious.
A lot of mana.
That's mega regen for me. So, how's the high ground for Aurora? You do have Elder Titan, right?
Yeah.
You do have Boat. You have options.
I think you need to not think about it in the traditional sense, because this is not a standard game for this patch. You need to look at it as, can we displace the guy hitting the tower and burst him enough?
Oh, boy.
Not do we have big teams.
Oh. All right. First mistake from Heroic in a bit, but I don't think it's going to matter.
And he doesn't have TP, so he's...
Yeah. He is toast one way or another.
Love myself some good toast. Well, he'll try to...
Oh, he BKBs into the gate. I haven't seen that play before.
Maybe
he has Blink, actually. Oh, but the arena. And eventually found Divine Llama with the kill. Lornoff with another death. And this is just crumbling for Aurora.
Yeah, they have to...
Keep in mind, this is the first game of the day for Aurora. I'm trying to be positive here. Heroic has had time to play, so they have some momentum from that last series. That is something.
Okay, so here's the challenge. You're talking about all these big AoE spells. Hector has 4,000 health, 41 armor, and 2 butlers. One of them makes him magic immune, and the other one makes him immune to everything. So
to everything?
Yeah, that's what Disruption does. Yeah. So how are you killing this guy? I genuinely think toss back into Arrow next to ET, and then Morph needs to finish his Daedalus, and then just absolutely lay into him. Maybe that is enough.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, it's a tall order. Satanic is coming up in about 2 minutes now for Hector as well. So then you absolutely have to 100-0 him, or he'll just...
Oh, I think Hector is probably asking his butler, why have you not purchased a shard? I want cleanse.
Yeah.
That's next. Come on.
Well, what do they have to cleanse even? I don't think they can cleanse anything.
It's just nice to have.
That's true. I would like a bath.
I mean, the master chooses the term, Cinderin.
That is
doesn't need to make sense.
True. We don't have to get that real right now, though. This is a video game.
I mean, doesn't it heal as well? Am I crazy?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, okay, it heals.
Yeah, you're right. Why not?
Now, should he give control of his hero to his butler to use Satanic? Because that is also a dispel. Feels a bit too defensive for K1. He needs to get his buttons pushed for him as well. That's the next step.
The next step is automation.
ChatGPT, play Dragon Knight for me.
Has been killed.
I cannot believe this inventory. This is 27 minutes. Let's take a time machine back like 5 years and show this inventory to someone. They're
He's
like,
cheating!
That's 50-minute inventory.
It's literally cheating.
Dota has come a long way in terms of like power creep and speed.
Yeah.
This would have been genuinely impossible 5 years ago. No way.
Sure.
So, yep, he's big. There's a lot of farm on the map. There's a lot of stacking, and everything goes faster. So
all right, smoke from Aurora. They need to have something go well for them to get the toss back onto the Bailami. Pops the BKB, gets the arena onto 4 heroes. It means 23 Savage is completely isolated, just getting casually right-clicked down by K1. Ollie's the first to fall. 23 Savage now attempting to run away. Gets off the waveform. Divine Llama misses the spear. So the good news for Aurora is they only lost 1.
All right, so 23 spent his entire BKB hitting Hector, and he got him to 70%.
Radiant's top barracks are under attack.
That's not the way to go about this. It's all in. Like, you have to... I genuinely think you cannot go on Dragon Knight. I think that's just the worst angle. You have to kill... You have to find supports. You have to jump them together and get the burst out. If you split your damage, the fight is lost.
Speaking of split, the Earth Splitter is down. Kunkka ship down. Your first lane of racks down, and the second perhaps to come if Heroic wants to stick around.
I'm surprised they're backing here, actually. There's no Morph BKB.
Oh! Oh my god, the rage buyback as well! Oh dear!
Gives him the XD.
Oh my god, they have to be so tilted right now. That is kind of a disgusting death.
I don't really know what to say.
I don't know either.
This is a one-of-a-kind game right here. Aurora, time for the Hail Mary play. They bought back the Morph. They're like, all right, guys, last fight. If they lose this, they GG out. It doesn't matter even if there's any waves close to their base. This is very clearly a mental play.
They're scanning. They know they're there.
Yeah.
Maybe they get softened up by the Tormentor. Schofield finally has his cleanse.
I mean,
how can you kill him now?
They break on
K1
This is not a thing.
Initiated on, I guess, if you want to call it that, but he walks into the rest of the team. Divine Llama gets the Mars Arena off. Already the death of the Marauder, but they do take out one Butler. You need to find the second to be able to prevail here. Divine Llama actually taking quite a bit of damage, and Purification is not enough to save him. So a 1 for 2 as K1 Hector now applying all his pressure to jabs. Doesn't want to finish the job, apparently. Analog with the Orchid upon the Morph. Echo Stomp. Do they have the control? He's trying to morph back up, but that's essentially a dieback, and they're just going to call it GG's.
I mean, that is exactly what I was saying. That's so telling, right? They lost the fight 2-3 and GG'd.
Yeah.
They were just... Yeah. They knew that... They knew what state this game was in. They knew they had to all in, and they needed a better result than that in that fight. It was a little bit promising. They